Hello, this is Jess Hay from Creative Cards to You. I'm so glad you're here. Well, I have a fun card today that I'm making for a friend whose favorite color is dark green. To start, I have a large piece of watercolor cardstock that I cut with a journal die from Elizabeth Craft Design. I put these stamps from Arden Creek's Chronicle Remnants on a stamp block, and I use Rustic Wilderness archival ink to stamp them, as I want something that won't smudge if it gets wet. I also put a little bit of black soot in places to give it a mottled look. Next, I take this stencil from Studio Light and Sizzix, and I use Catherine Pooler's inks in Sage and Spruce to do the opposite corners. Then I take this butterfly die cut from Elizabeth Craft Design, and I use Catherine Pooler Merlot ink for the bottom layer and spruce ink for the top. After I ink it up, I put it in super heavy clear embossing powder and heat set it off camera. I do this many times until I am happy with the coverage. One thing I like about Catherine Pooler inks is that they don't dry instantly. So if you are quick, you can skip the step of putting embossing ink on your piece to get it sticky. After the butterfly was done, I used Sage and Spruce inks to color these leafy die cuts from Elizabeth Craft Designs. I end up using one to kind of anchor the butterfly when I go to finish the card. You can see I got clear embossing powder on my spruce ink pad, so I just use a piece of scrap cardstock to scrape it off. Now for some splatter. I put some Merlot ink on the craft mat and spritzed it with water, and then used 2 paintbrushes to apply the ink to different parts of the card. I dried the card front with my heat tool and went to assemble the different parts. I just love this die from All and Create. I cut it in half and glued it to the different stenciled areas with Liquid Art Sparely glue. Then I glued the top layer of the butterfly onto the bottom with some glue as well. It needed a lot of ink because it was very thick from the shiny embossing powder. Then I glued down the leaf die cut to the center and inked up the edges of the card front with black soot distress ink. I felt like the card needed a little something more, so I cut down some music rub-ons from Hero Arts. I applied them to the 2 corners that didn't have much going on. I felt it was kind of appropriate for a birthday card. I also took what was left over that didn't fully transfer and put it in between the black dies for added interest. I glued the panel to a custom-made card front. For a finishing touch, I took some black thread and rolled it around in my hand, and I put some double-sided tape to kind of get it to start sticking, and then glued the butterfly down with liquid glue to keep the thread adhered to the card front. I used foam strips to adhere a happy birthday sentiment, and then I added some ebony gems from Amazon. I just love how this card turned out. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.